This is an open letter to the Sane Society. Uh, Recently, I saw, like everybody else, that Mrs. Condense Owens, I believe, brought up the subject that the idea that maybe Mrs. Macron, the wife of Mr. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France in 2024, it may not be actually his wife, but maybe actually his husband. Okay, maybe true, maybe not, probably true. uh, Probably true, but let's let's say maybe, maybe not. But the idea got me thinking that uh, in reality, Mr. Macron is a boy. He's not a man. He's a boy. I mean, the idea between he was a boy when supposedly he had this started this relationship with this man or woman or whatever. He was a boy in that context when he started the relationship, and he's still a boy. So is Mr. Olaf Schultz. So is boys and women. These have been the people who are so willy-nilly about war, about willy-nilly. It's so nonchalant. It's like, yeah, let's go to war. Let's see what happens. I'm sorry. Again, this is a fault of democracy. Your system of democracy. I'm sure you can turn this democracy on its head 1,000 times, and you still can still call it democracy. So it's just uh, let's get past the words. The idea is, why are these boys in this situation? When I say boys, I mean boys think they can deceive people. I tell you the quality of boys, and you tell me these folks are not boys. Boys think that short term, that they can deceive others and get away with it. Men don't. Men want to go straight to work, do something useful, go home, rest. There is no, they see no long-term benefit coming out of deception, because there is a difference. Imagine the difference between a 25-year-old who just graduated from college with you know all just being educated and training. Let's say the best education and best training for 25 years, 30 years, and imagine a man who's literally been in the trenches, who had to protect himself against being eaten by rats and fighting off mosquitoes. They could be the same age, 25, 25, 35, 35, but one is a boy, the other is a man. The difference is that the man wants to just get the job done, i.e., keep his people safe, finish the job with no headache, and go the fuck home without breaking anything. Boys, on the other hand, they have something to prove. They don't see long term. Mr. Justin Trudeau, I think I'm liberal by nature. Salute. But after seeing his behavior, his although many of his policies are liberal, that's great, but his attitude, his perspective in life is that of a boy. And the reality is that goes back to your system of democracy that you have chosen this election. Election means fighting to get something, fighting to get the vote. There's a contest. You don't want to choose your leaders from a winners of a contest because only boys appreciate contest. Boys. These boys could be 70-year-old, could be 80-year-old, could be 60-year-old, could be 30-year-old, or could be 13-year-old. But boys with that vigor of boys appreciate contest. You know what the main contest? You know, the real bottom line of contest, any contest, you know, be it boxing or football or this or that, it's all a dick measuring contest, a penis measuring contest. All contests in reality are penis measuring contests, even a fucking chess. You know, you see, I got a bigger penis in my brain than you do. All contests, all competition in reality is as stupid and useless as a dick measuring contest, a penis measuring contest. So the idea that the winner of a contest should become our leader, you're asking for it. You're asking for people who are you're asking for boys who are interested in contests, in penis measuring contests. You see, you keep saying why you get such bad leaders. Well, look at the form in which you select your leaders. It comes down to a competition whose teeth are shinier, who can lie better with a straight face, who can hold his own in front of many crowds, you know, thinking all the people are lower than him, so he can think of himself higher than and talk to them. Who does that? Who thinks I'm so mighty and great that I should be the one leading these motherfuckers? That's some ignorant, arrogant guy you need for that, who thinks that yes, I should be the leader. He has to be really ignorant to think that what is in his head is top of the line. I should be the leader because I'm the best. You have to be very arrogant and ignorant. Why ignorance? It's that model that they say that the less you know, the more you think you know. You don't know what you don't know. So if you know just a little, you don't know how much farther is out there. So the people, arrogant and ignorant people who think, yes, I should be the one leading these motherfuckers, are the ones who volunteer for this job. That's why you get shitty leaders. A man, a guy who's been in the trenches, who's seen so much shit in his life that he just wants to do his job and go home, he will never want to be a leader. Because he's been through so much, he understands the meaning of responsibility. He's happy that he can, you know, be responsible in life, be responsible enough to, you know, to not hinder the life of, you know, five, six, four member of his family, and his, you know, whoever he manages, or that small area of work, whoever few people that he manages or is part of. He's just happy doing the job and peacefully going home. That's a man. You know, turn the other cheek. You need a man to turn the other cheek, not a boy. A boy, a boy is the one who hits first because he has to prove something. I can see that George W. Bush would be the one who hits first. He's still a boy. Are you fucking kidding me? Men like to just do it, you know, keep it together because they don't want to break the fucking thing. because they know, they have put the pieces back together many times in their life, in their worthy life, that they know once you break it, putting it back together is fuck. Takes 100 years. But boys don't know that. These guys who are aching to defeat Russia, okay, you defeat a nuclear powered state which has almost all of Asia and Africa and most of South America on its side. Because they're saying these are Slavs, we are Slavs, this is our backyard, this is our pond, just like you got the Gulf of Mexico, and you got the English Channel, we got the Black Sea. This is our pond. And we are a big country and we are proud people, and don't mess around here. Let us live peacefully with the Slavs. We let the Slavs and you know the Saxons live peacefully. But the Anglos come from the other side and start, fingering people over here on their other side. And these are all coming from the mind of boys or women who are pretty much more or less boys. Women, I mean, the most well-known fucking woman in politics was Cleopatra. And you know how many wars are associated with Cleopatra? How many times she sold her pussy here and there and there and there to how many of these rulers, boys? And you have these women are in the business of deception because of their weakness of body. They had to find ways around to overcome their weakness of their bodies. So deception is one of their ways in order to get a get be able to get one over the other guy once in a while. So they're very comfortable with deception. Let's put it that way. You have women leaders who are very comfortable with deception because that's who women are, and that's part of the personality. And then boys who have something to prove, and not a single fucking man who has been through in the trenches and knows once you break it, it never goes back to normal. It never goes back to the way it was. And these deceptive women and boyish men have resulted into this, that we are just about going to a nuclear war, or at least a very handsome war. Fuck. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. You want to call it democracy? You want to call it chicocracy? Putting people in position of, you know who you have to put in a position of leadership? A person who doesn't want it. Who doesn't want it? Why? Because a person who doesn't want it understands that this is such a big responsibility that it's not worth all the accolades in the world. I don't want that responsibility. I want to sleep well at night. That's the person you have to force into leadership. No cock measuring contest enthusiast. No cock measuring contest enthusiast should be allowed to participate. I don't care what you want to call it, democracy or chitocracy. Democracy means competition. People who are enthusiastic about competition are usually boys. People who are so irresponsible that they look lightly upon the responsibility of leading millions of people who are so irresponsible that they look very lightly at the responsibility of leading millions of people, that even when they're so boyish, mentally they're so boyish that even when they can't walk, they still want to compete and win. Dude, you can't walk. Dude, you can't talk. Dude, you can't keep your penis in your pants. These are all boys. Clinton, that I can't keep my penis in my pants, that's a boyish thing. I don't care if he was, smart in one way or another. Personality wise, if you are like that, you're a boy, you're not a man. You never spent time in the trenches. If you had spent time in your trenches, sometimes in your life, not in real war trenches, it can be in, trenches digging for a fucking phone line, trench digging under the sun, laying asphalt. If you had been there, if, you had to fight the fucking rats from biting your penis, fighting off mosquitoes, then in that condition you grow to become a man. You understand how bad things can get, so you take that responsibility of leading millions of people. Not very likely that you think my penis is more important than my job as leading, potentially ending the life of the planet, uh, ending the life of the planet is, yeah, I have that power in my hand, but I also really crave that pussy. No, I'm sorry. For a person to have that kind of understand the weight of that weight in his hands, with on his decisions, the weight of so many 8.5 billion people on planet Earth, not to mention all the other cocksuckers living here, but to have the weight on your hand but still have time to think about pussy, then you don't feel that weight. If you still have time to you know 24/7 think about pussy so bad so often in the White House, I don't care what part of your brain works well, you're a good salesman. If you can't keep your penis off your mind when you're carrying such a heavy weight, you're a boy, you're not a man. If after presidency you still like to chase fuck 14-year-old pussy, you're not a man, you're a boy. You still you know get a high of young pussy. You know, let me put it this way. How many people do who have, you know, done hard labor and suffered, you know, horrible conditions? How many that makes men? And please don't tell me nothing else makes men. The only thing that makes people hard, as in like reasonable, as in like sane, is hardship. The only thing that makes people sane is hardship. They have suffered the hardship. They don't want to go back to the hardship, and they understand hardship, so they don't want to. They don't want to enforce it on other people. You see, you have to know hardships, not to want to enforce it on other people, especially not to enforce it on people that you claim to represent, that you are responsible for. You don't want to do that. You don't want to create suffering condition for the people you're responsible for. A man understands that. A boy doesn't. A boy thinks about his penis, thinks about winning the contest. An 80-year-old who can't walk with an 80-year-old who can't talk are competing for the top job in the year of our Lord 2024. And the previous one was the boy who couldn't keep his penis in his pants, and the boy who thought we go to war and we smash and grab. Fuck him. And that was Mr. Bush. And then Victoria Nolan recently, that's another woman. She literally says, fuck the Europeans. When she was starting to inflame and participate in the election in Ukraine. When she was doing that, and there are tapes of it. When she was doing that, she was, it's like fuck them. That's a boy's mentality. That's a woman's mentality. I'm sorry, woman. It's coming out sexist again, but it is what it is. You're deceptive. Your first tool is deception. Oh, which one of the recent presidents were men who have been in the trenches, who suffered enough that they say, military men who have been in the front line and had their soldiers blown up make the best leaders because they are the ones who know if it breaks. I saw Joe broke by shrapnel and we couldn't put him back together again. You want those people in leadership. And unfortunately, those are the leaders that you have to force leadership on too. They don't want to become leaders. Men don't want to become leaders. The higher, the worse, because more responsibility you have. Only boys want to become leaders. That's why your democracies, the system, doesn't end well. Never. Those who are attracted to this are boys who are attracted to contests and deck measuring contests and any kind of contest, and they want to win the contest. So you attract boys, men with boyish mentality, and women who are love the office, love the deceptions and talking behind each other's back and playing politics. Women are in love with that shit. So women usually rise through the bureaucratic system. Mrs. Clinton couldn't win an election if her life was dependent on it. A section of New York that is, in the bag, yes, but because she's in nature, she's a bureaucrat. Women do very well in a bureaucracy because they do politics all the time. This deception and things that are beside doing your job and going home. Things that are doing your job and going home. That's what men do.